Hello friends, and welcome back to our channel. What I'm about to share with you today is something truly special that arrived in my inbox just a few days ago. A young man wrote to us with an amazing story about his grandmother Catherine and what she experienced during a time of deep prayer. After reading his letter several times, I knew this was something our community needed to hear. This isn't just another story. It's a powerful message about being ready for Jesus' return that will touch your heart and maybe even change your life. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're watching from today. Drop your location in the comments below so we can connect as one big family, even though we're miles apart. And if this testimony speaks to your heart, please hit that like button to help us share this message with others who need to hear it. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments too. I love reading what God is doing in your lives through these stories. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because we have more incredible testimonies coming your way. Now let's dive into this remarkable story. Hey everyone, my name is Marcus and I'm 24 years old. I work at a bookstore downtown, spend my weekends playing drums with some friends, and I'm totally obsessed with soccer. I'm pretty much just an ordinary guy living an ordinary life. But I'm making this video because I gave my word to my grandmother Catherine. And when you make a promise to Grandma Catherine, you better keep it. I'm not a pastor or anything like that. I don't have any special training in religion or theology. I'm just a guy who loves his grandma more than anything else in this world. And she asked me to tell people about something incredible that happened to her. Something that completely changed both of our lives forever. 3 months ago, if someone had told me I'd be sitting here talking about visions and heavenly experiences, I would have thought they were nuts. I was the guy who spent church services scrolling through Instagram when Grandma made me come along. I was way more concerned about my next video game release and whether my girlfriend would call me back than anything spiritual. But then something happened in July that turned my whole world upside down. Something that made me see everything in a completely different way. And Grandma made me swear I'd tell other people about it, especially young folks like myself. So here I am, keeping my word to her. This isn't easy to talk about. People might think I've lost my mind or that Grandma was just having strange dreams because she's getting up there in years. But I was right there with her. I saw everything that happened. And after 3 months of thinking about it, praying about it, and trying to figure it all out, I know I have to speak up. Let me tell you about my grandmother Catherine first. She's 78 years old, but she acts like she's still in her 50s. She works in her flower garden every single morning, bakes the most amazing chocolate chip cookies you've ever had, and never misses her evening news programs. She's been the rock of our family ever since Grandpa passed away 5 years ago. I've been staying with her since I finished high school. My mom and dad split up when I was 16, and honestly, Grandma's place always felt more like a real home than anywhere else. She never made me feel like I was in the way. She'd always tell me, "Marcus, this old house needs your energy to keep it alive." So when she told me she was planning to fast and pray for 4 whole days, I got really worried. Like, seriously worried. Grandma had never done anything like that before. She was always the down-to-earth one in our family. She said grace before dinner and went to church on Sundays, but she wasn't what you'd call extremely religious or anything. "Grandma, what's going on? Are you sick?" I asked her that Monday morning. She was sitting at her kitchen table with her worn-out Bible spread open, and she had this intense, focused look I'd never seen on her face before. "I'm perfectly fine, sweetheart," she said, giving my hand a gentle pat. "I just feel like God is asking me to pray about something really important, something I can't ignore anymore." I didn't really get what she meant by that, but I could tell she was dead serious about it. So for the next 4 days, I became like her personal assistant. Every couple of hours, I'd bring her fresh water and sit with her for a bit. She spent most of her time in her bedroom, either talking to God or reading from her Bible. Sometimes I'd hear her crying quietly, but whenever I'd check on her, she'd just give me a smile and say everything was fine. By Wednesday night, I was getting really scared. She looked exhausted and had barely touched any food. But there was something else too, something I couldn't quite figure out. She seemed different somehow, more alert and focused, like she was listening to sounds that I couldn't hear. Thursday night was when everything completely changed. I woke up around 2 in the morning because I could hear her voice. At first I thought maybe she was talking on the phone with someone, but when I listened more carefully, I realized she was praying. But it wasn't like her normal prayers before meals. She was having a back-and-forth conversation, like someone was actually responding to her. I quietly walked closer to her door, which was cracked open just a little, and I could see her sitting on the edge of her bed. Her face was literally glowing. I know that sounds crazy, but I promise you there was this gentle, warm light all around her, and she was smiling and nodding like she was chatting with her best friend. I stood there watching for maybe 20 minutes, just completely amazed. I'd never witnessed anything like it in my entire life. Finally, I went back to my room, but I couldn't fall asleep. I just laid there staring at the ceiling, thinking about what I'd just seen and wondering if my grandma was okay or if something was seriously wrong. Friday morning, I woke up to the sound of Grandma crying. But it wasn't sad crying, it was different. It sounded almost like tears of joy, if that makes any sense. I jumped out of bed and rushed to her room. She was sitting in her old rocking chair by the window, tears running down her cheeks, but wearing the biggest, brightest smile I'd ever seen on her face. When she spotted me, she opened her arms wide. "Marcus, honey, come over here. I need to tell you something amazing." I sat down on her bed right across from her, and she took both my hands in hers. They were trembling slightly. "Grandma, what happened? Are you all right?" "Oh, sweetheart, I'm better than all right. I saw something last night, something absolutely beautiful and terrifying at the same time." She wiped her eyes with a tissue. "I don't know if you'll believe what I'm about to tell you, but I have to share it with someone, and I trust you more than anyone else on this earth. I'll be totally honest with you. My first thought was that maybe she was having some kind of mental breakdown from not eating for so long. But when I looked into her eyes, they were clearer and brighter than I'd ever seen them. She wasn't confused or sick at all. She was more awake and alert than anybody I'd ever met. "I'll believe you, Grandma. Tell me what you saw." She took a long, deep breath and started talking. For the next 2 hours, she told me about the most amazing thing I'd ever heard in my life. She said she found herself in this incredibly beautiful place, brighter than anything she could possibly describe. There were people everywhere, more people than anyone could count, all dressed in pure white clothing. There were these doves, Marcus, hundreds and hundreds of them flying in perfect patterns above everyone's heads. And way off in the distance, I could see 7 burning lamps that were so bright they lit up everything around them like daylight. She went on to describe what she called the open door, a huge entrance made of what looked like pearls and gold, with the most gorgeous light you can imagine streaming through it. But here's the part that really hit me hard. She said there were people standing outside this door, carrying heavy bags on their backs, looking confused and lost. They wanted to go through the door, Marcus, but they couldn't because those bags kept pulling them backward. Every time they tried to take a step forward, the weight would drag them down. "What was in those bags, Grandma?" She got quiet for a moment, then looked at me with the saddest eyes I'd ever seen. All the things they thought were more important than being ready. Their worries about money, their anger at other people, their love for stuff that doesn't really matter. Their pride, their fears, all the old hurts they refused to let go of. The way she described it just broke my heart. These weren't evil people or anything. They were just regular folks carrying too much heavy stuff that was weighing them down and keeping them from where they wanted to go. But then her whole expression changed and she squeezed my hands tighter. "Marcus, that's not the part that scared me most. What really scared me was realizing that the door was about to close. Not because God wanted to lock people out, but because time was running out for people to get themselves ready." Over the next several days, Grandma Catherine and I talked about her vision constantly. At first, I tried to understand it like it was a prediction of actual future events. But the more we discussed it, the more I realized it was much deeper than that. "Grandma, what do you think those 7 lamps were all about?" She pulled out her old Bible and showed me some passages about 7 churches. "I think each lamp represents a different problem in churches today, sweetheart. But not just in churches, problems in people's hearts." She explained it in a way that actually made sense to someone like me. "The first lamp," she said, was about people who used to be excited about God but got tired and quit trying. That made me think immediately about my generation, how we get all pumped up about something for a few weeks and then just move on to the next thing. The second lamp was about people who got so busy chasing money and building their careers that they forgot about what actually mattered in life. That one hit me pretty hard because I'd been obsessing over get-rich-quick schemes and trying to figure out how to make more money. The third lamp really broke my heart when she explained it. It was about people who looked perfect on the outside, like their social media posts and online image, but inside they were empty and fake. Living dirty lives while pretending to be clean is how she put it. Each lamp represented something different that was keeping people from being ready for what was coming. And when she explained about the open door, I finally got it. It's not about a real door that you can touch. Is it, Grandma? No, baby. It's about the choices we make. Every single day we're making decisions that either help us get ready for eternity or weigh us down with junk that doesn't matter. Those bags people were carrying, I could see them in my own life. My stress about what was going to happen in the future. My anger at my parents for getting divorced. My jealousy when my friends seemed to be doing better than me. My addiction to my phone and social media and how it made me feel worthless sometimes. Those bags, Marcus, Grandma said, they're not chains that God puts on us. They're chains we put on ourselves. And the wonderful thing is, we can choose to drop them anytime we want to. About a week after her vision, Grandma sat me down for the most serious talk we'd ever had. Marcus, I need you to promise me something, and I want you to really think hard about it before you give me an answer. I could tell this was super important, so I put my phone away and gave her my complete attention. I want you to promise me that you'll share this story with other people, especially young people like yourself, not to scare them, but to help them understand that we don't have unlimited time to get our lives right. But Grandma, people are going to think I've lost my mind. They're going to think you've lost your mind too. She smiled and shook her head. Sweetheart, I've been thinking about that too. But then I realized something. If there was a fire in a building and you knew people were trapped inside, would you worry about looking silly when you yelled, "Fire"? That made perfect sense to me, but I still had more questions. Did God tell you exactly when all this is going to happen? Like, did you get a specific date or something? This is the part one really need everyone to understand because I think lots of people get confused about this stuff. Grandma was very clear that she didn't see a calendar or get told any specific date. What I saw, she said, was more like seasons changing, like when you can feel winter coming even though it's still fall. There are signs that tell you change is on the way. She explained that September, the month we were having this conversation, felt important in her vision, but not as a deadline. More like a season of warning, like when the weather people tell you a big storm is coming so you can get prepared. The message isn't you have until this date, she said. The message is, don't wait until tomorrow to get right with God, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. That's when she made me promise to share her story, not as a prediction about the end of the world, but as a wake-up call for people like me who were just sleepwalking through life. Promise me, Marcus. Promise me you'll tell them that God's patience won't last forever, but His love will, and He's giving people every possible chance to get ready. I promised her, and that's why I'm here 3 months later, keeping my word. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't believe Grandma at first. Not completely anyway. I mean, I believed that she experienced something real, but I thought maybe it was just her mind playing tricks on her because she hadn't eaten anything for 4 days. But then I started paying closer attention to her. The peace in her eyes was something I'd never seen before. She stopped getting stressed about little things that used to upset her. She started giving away stuff she'd been holding on to for years. And she began talking to people about God in a way that didn't feel pushy or weird. It just felt natural and real. Grandma, you're totally different since that night. Like, really different. I am different, baby. When you see where we're all heading, it changes how you think about everything down here. I started reading her Bible with her, which was something I'd never done before in my life. And slowly, things started making sense. Not all at once, but piece by piece, like putting together a puzzle. The biggest change in my thinking came when I realized this wasn't supposed to make me scared. It was supposed to give me hope. Grandma wasn't afraid of what she'd seen. She was excited about it. Marcus, what I saw was the most beautiful thing you could ever imagine. But it broke my heart to see people missing out on it because they were carrying around too much junk. That's when it finally clicked for me. This wasn't a scary story about Judgment Day. This was a love story about God giving people every possible chance to be ready for something absolutely amazing. I started looking at my own life in a completely different way. All the stuff I was stressed about, my job, my relationships, my future plans, none of it seemed as important as making sure I was ready for whatever was coming. And you know what's funny? When I started letting go of some of those worries and focusing more on what really mattered, my life actually got better. Not perfect, but definitely better. So here's the thing. After 3 months of thinking about Grandma Catherine's vision and what it all means, I think I finally understand what we're supposed to do with this information. We're not supposed to quit our jobs and stand on street corners holding signs that say, "The end is near." That's not what this is about at all. We're supposed to wake up and stop living like we have unlimited time to get our hearts right with God. For me, that meant making some real changes in my life. I stopped spending so much time on social media because it was making me jealous and angry all the time. I started being more honest with people instead of trying to look perfect constantly. I began helping Grandma with church stuff, not because I had to, but because I actually wanted to. Most importantly, I started praying for real. Not just those quick "God, please help me pass this test" prayers I used to mumble. I started having actual conversations with God like Grandma taught me to do. "Those bags people were carrying in your vision," I asked her one day, "how do we put them down?" "One at a time, baby. You don't have to drop everything all at once. Just start with the heaviest one." For me, the heaviest bag was my anger at my parents. I'd been carrying that anger around for years, and it was making me bitter and suspicious of everyone. So I started there. I called my mom and had a real heart-to-heart conversation with her for the first time in 2 years. It didn't fix everything overnight, but it was a start. Then I worked on my anxiety about money. Instead of constantly worrying about not having enough, I started being grateful for what I did have and trusting that God would take care of me. Each bag I dropped made me feel lighter and more free. And the more ready I became, the more excited I got about whatever God has planned for us. It's been 3 months since Grandma Catherine had her vision, and I've kept my promise to share her story. But now I realize something important. This isn't just her message anymore. This has become my message too. I'm not asking you to believe everything I've told you today. I'm not asking you to change your entire life overnight. I'm just asking you to consider the possibility that time might be shorter than we think, and that maybe it's worth taking a look at what you're carrying around that might be weighing you down. If you're like I was, stressed about money, angry about things you can't change, addicted to your phone and social media, feeling empty inside even when everything looks good on the outside, maybe it's time to start dropping some of those heavy bags. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm still working on it myself every single day. But I can tell you that every step I've taken toward being ready has made my life better, not worse. Grandma Catherine is still with us, and she's still praying for everyone who hears this story. She's not afraid of what's coming. She's excited about it, and she wants everyone else to be excited about it too. The door is still open, and there's still time to get ready. But time isn't unlimited, and that's not meant to be a threat. It's just the truth. So what are you going to do about it? That's the question I had to answer 3 months ago, and it's the question I'm asking you right now. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't carry those heavy bags for one more day. Drop them. Step toward the light and get ready for the most beautiful thing you could ever imagine. Thanks so much for watching and listening to our story. If this testimony has touched your heart in any way, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us reach more people who need to hear these amazing stories. And please share this with your friends and family. Sometimes sharing a testimony like this can be the greatest gift you could ever give someone you care about. If you have a testimony of your own that you think would encourage other believers, drop us a comment below and we'll make sure to read it. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button to join our growing family of believers. It's completely free, and it's a great way to stay connected with others who are seeking God. Thanks for being part of our community, and until next time, stay blessed.